but we're going to do so anyways. I think I'm going to start with who I am, where the hell in the world I am, and what the purpose of this is. So essentially, my name is Alana. I am originally from the US. I don't know if you can hear from my accent. A lot of people say that they cannot hear my American accent, and that's fine because most of my partners have been British, and so I've lost my American accent throughout the years. I've also not been back to the US in 8 years, so that doesn't help. My point is, I am currently an entrepreneur, I suppose is what you'd call it, building my own business from scratch. And what I mean from scratch is literally no one knows who the hell I am. I had no portfolio. I had never really even picked up a camera in my life. And I was I'm in Copenhagen, but I've only really ever had 2 jobs here, both of which were part-time, both of which lasted about 4 months. So safe to say that not many people know who I am in a city that is so network-based, genuinely. So it's been quite a challenge to start as someone who doesn't know anyone, nor isn't very educated in the space that she's going in, which that has changed, of course. But my point is that's where I started from. And I'm not too far off that either. I still don't know many people at all. I know how to film, but I haven't worked with any huge, massive brands. So I suppose my purpose with this is, well, first of all, to document my journey, which currently my goal for this year, 2025, is to reach 10,000 euros in revenue by, is this recording? Yes. By 2025, so December 2025. My goal is to reach 10,000 euros in business revenue. Currently, I'm making 1.5 a month, recurring, yes, but 1.5, so we're not quite there yet. I am this close to landing my first client for 800 euros a month, ex-VAT. And I have 2 other potential clients, which would probably also be 800 or 1,100. So by then, I would probably be making 3.4 to 4K a month, which is almost halfway there. So I'd say that's pretty solid progress if that does happen. Now, am I sure that that will happen? Absolutely not. I've had a lot of instances where people are like, oh yes, we're interested, but then nothing really happens. So that's kind of the rundown of where I'm at now. I've done mainly in-person prospecting. A lot of my portfolio comes from in-person prospecting. I'll get into that after. And yeah, I'm kind of still at the very beginning of it. And I do feel like there's not enough representation of this online. No one is, or not many people at least, are filming themselves when they are at ground zero, which has its negatives and positives. And one of the huge positives is that you get to be whoever the hell you want. You get to make whatever brand that you want. You get to build yourself up in whichever way you want. And I think there's tremendous power in that. And I just want to show other people that it's okay not to have an extensive network. It's okay, it's fine. Because I don't. And I'm, through some perseverance and determination, yes, I'm still doing it. And if I can do it, anyone can. Because I'll also give you a little bit of a rundown of my personal history, which was not headed for anything good. So we'll get into that. Alright, so it's a different day because it turns out that the other clip was out of focus. We love that. And my boyfriend's in the other room. So I'm very uncomfortable. But that's okay. What I was talking about last time was, if I can remember it, how I got here, and not strategies per se, ways of acquiring either client or portfolio material that I was very stubborn about at first, and I honestly should have trusted those who were talking or just, let's say, recommending these ways to me a little bit more and gone for it and just gave it a try, because it would have made me grow as a person a lot faster and a lot sooner. So firstly, how I've come here is mainly I have had a few jobs before, although not many. I don't think I'm the type of person who can work for someone. I like to make my own path. I've had 2 bartending jobs per se, and 1 receptionist job, which was at night, and it ended in a very odd manner. So working for someone clearly is just not for me. And I could per se do it, right, if I had to for paying the bills or something. Of course, you can do anything that you really put your mind to, but I don't want to. And since there's other options, why go for an option that I would rather poke my eyes out, or something that is slightly challenging but entirely more rewarding on the long run? That's kind of how I ended up here. Is my last job as the receptionist, I moved away from Copenhagen and went to Spain, where I'm honestly 19% sure that was the lowest point to my memory of my life, where I had this clicking moment. And I think a lot of people that either completely change their mindset overnight, or just have a flip of the switch and all of a sudden they're a completely different person, they hit rock bottom, where the life that they've settled for so far no longer is livable, and they have to do something about it, because it's just, you can't do it anymore. There's something going on and it doesn't even feel like you, and you don't even know how you got there before. So that was where I was in Spain, April of last year. And after that click moment, I went into this period where I went from working maximum 30 minutes a day, genuinely, my attention span was just terrible, to being able to work unhealthy amounts of time on, yes, stupid stuff at first, but I suppose that's the learning curve. And the point is that I was able to work upwards of 12 hours a day. I still can, but you have to also learn to work in a way that is actually efficient, so that what you put in, at least that amount comes out or more. Otherwise, there's no point. So once I had my first client in Spain, honestly, that man overpaid me. He's absolutely adorable, and I still am in contact with him, but he overpaid me. He genuinely did, and for that reason, I told him recently, actually, that I would do the video for free. Another video for free, but that's just how you build your portfolio. And I'm actually getting to that. Is recently I've tried 3 different ways of cold outreach. The first one being to cold email, which is what I started to do before I moved back to Copenhagen. That was relatively unfruitful. Actually, it was completely unfruitful. And then I tried cold calling. That was character development. That was the first time that I was truly uncomfortable. It took me, I think, 30 minutes of just priming myself and getting myself ready to actually make the first call. And the first calls that I made were not even selling anything. They were literally telling them what they were doing wrong or how I thought they could improve, and then just sending it to them. Because at least I didn't feel bad, because I was sending them value. You see what I mean? It was all about the whole value aspect of it, and it worked quite well. It made me train, or it helped me train to be more comfortable with talking to strangers, especially on the phone, because cold calling, you have 3 minutes to make, 3 seconds, what am I talking about? 3 seconds to make a good impression, or an impression that they don't want to hang up on. And I get cold called myself now, and most people absolutely suck at it. Cold calling was okay. I got I got some portfolio material that way, but I don't think it is a way, especially in my industry, to get any paid work. So I would say about 2-3 months ago is when I started doing in-person outreach. That has completely changed the course of how I do things and where my business is going. In a city like Copenhagen, which is so network and relationship based, I didn't actually realize this until I really went and started to speak to people, how much they have to know that you worked with someone else whom they know, mind you, in order to even trust you to do something for free, which is insane. technically speaking, but it also makes sense because at the end of the day, you are still taking their time. Free or not, nothing is really free. It's either you pay for it with both your time and your money, or you pay with it with your time, which one of them you can make back and then the other one you can't. So depending on who you're talking to, the size of the business, they might be more or less aware of that. And you have to take that into account as well. But I would still say in-person outreach is one of the best ways to start getting, especially for the creative industry, whether it's free or paid, which now I'm doing mainly one free for paid work. I don't really do just free anymore at all. But it was still a way for me to build a pretty decent sized portfolio where now I can go to pretty much any industry and they will somewhat find an industry that is close to them, or my confidence has improved now, and so I'm able to come across very differently as I was 2 months ago. I remember the first time that I went in-person prospecting, I think it took me walking up and down a street for half an hour to even go into one store, and that store actually never reached out after. Wonder why. But the point is, it takes time, and it takes practice, and it takes perseverance, and it takes not taking no as a personal insult, but that you were either not the right person for then, or that it was just the wrong moment, and they were going through something. But the whole not taking it personal thing is it's a very tough learning curve, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it takes a lot now for me to, let's say, get discouraged. I actually had an incident like that recently as I say that, but it was genuinely a little bit more punch in the face type of situation. I suppose this is what I wanted to talk about in the first video. I've been rambling on for about 8 minutes now, so I think I'll stop talking for the moment and think of something else to talk about next week. But yeah, I want to keep sharing what I learn and the truth of what it is to build something from scratch when no one but your sister, mom, and boyfriend know you in this world, because it takes so much more to make something successful, even at the beginning, even for free, than people would assume. And the toxicity that is online that affected my mental for the first 9 months that I was in there, thinking that I was doing something wrong because I was taking inspiration from people who are quite frankly being dishonest. And there's a lot of lying for people to think that you're some god or something, right? It's messed up, and that's why I'm doing this.